Decatur Student Government Association would like to welcome you to Track 10, Decatur's Homecoming Celebration. Help us welcome the Decatur High School band, JROTC Color Guard, and drill team as we prepare to honor Decatur's representatives.
Track 10 has been all about appreciation of music and showcasing Decatur's pride. Classes have rocked the spirit all week, and we are so happy to join us.
As we honor our club and team representatives, please hold your applause until all names are called.
Okay. And he called Still he got dropped in He's back to me now.
Like scoot around here, please.
He's over there and I called him.
How'd you like the track?
Rather he was trapped in the top. Right at the
This was Joey Roscoff.
Right.
Yeah, so work for him.
So he's pretty good at the I don't know how I did it. But I saw that coming back from the last night. We had gone out to eat. So we went to that. We were really and then we saw everybody go back.
You know, if he wants to do, I would love to do. I'd do the track.
Well, I figure I can start, and if I get dropped.
I get dropped all the time. Well, once you're in the thing about that ride is once you're in the mountain, if you get dropped, you can be back up with the group. So it's real nice.
Mr. and Mrs. Tennis, Dylan St. John and Mallory Little.
Varsity Volleyball, Rosie Parker.
Miss JV Volleyball, Summer St. John.
Mr. and Mrs. Swim, Finbar and Michael Casey.
Mr. and Mrs. Lacrosse, Shaquille Terrell and Audrey Leonard.
Mr. and Miss Soccer, Will Godwin and Carolee Sadler.
Oh, God.
Mr. and Miss Cross Country, Graham Tavel and Molly Petrie.
Miss Golf, Melissa Daly.
Miss Varsity Cheerleading, Stephanie Carter.
Miss JV Cheerleader, Janae Fuller.
Mr. and Mrs. Track, Lucas Shields and Moya Swan.
Mr. and Miss DHS Close-Up, Kiara Harkness and Jason Moody.
Mr. and Mrs. Key Club, Sarah Ann Herbert and Jackson Spell.
Miss and Miss Mock Trial, Hannah Lefton and Jesse Norton.
Mr. and Miss LET Level 1, Shane Kearney and Brianna Cook.
Mr. and Miss LET Level 2, Roderick Adams and Alexis Shields.
Mr. and Miss LET Level 3, Daniel Gartrell and Brittany Sinkfield.
Mr. and Miss RTC, Mikhail Tucker and Maya Tucker.
Mrs. and Mrs. Indicator, Hannah James and Googie Daniel.
Mr. and Miss Scribbler, Jake Rogers and Aaron Hill.
Mr. and Mrs. Deck, Chad Tinnies and Faith Huh.
Mr. and Miss Drama, Solomon Jordan and Sarah Kelly.
Mr. and Mrs. Fashion, Mackenzie Chris and Kiona Johnson.
Miss and Miss SCCLA, Naja Blackwell and Michelle Gilling.
Mr. and Mrs. Chorus, Austin Lonsway and Helen Menifee.
Miss Drill Team, Maggie Miller.
Mrs. FBLA, Morgan Johnson.
Mr. and Miss NHS, Dean O'Neill and Ellie Hamali.
Mr. and Mrs. Band, Walker Bruff and Deandra Power.
Please give all of these reps a big round of applause.